Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about some of the challenges of maintaining ketosis.
Or getting into it.
Getting into ketosis, yes.
First we got to get into it.
Right.
Yes, and there are some challenges.
That's right. So there's different ways to start out in ketosis. For a lot of people it's fasting, which has its own issues.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways to sort of hack that, I guess you might say. But if you don't achieve ketosis quickly, that's one of the things that can lead to what's called the keto flu. There are a couple other things, but I would say that's one of the initial challenges people face, is that feeling of the keto flu.
It does feel like the flu. Like
yeah,
fatigue,
it's not fun.
Kind of headachy,
Yeah.
extremely tired, cranky, hangry. I think the term hangry
yeah.
came from people going through the keto flu.
So I think, first of all, one of the things to understand is that when we ingest more fats compared to the other macronutrients, that the fats inside our body actually bind to the minerals. And it's very, very easy to become deficient in some of the key minerals, things that you wouldn't necessarily think you need to add to your diet, like sodium. You really do. And you will get that feeling of the flu just simply from having your minerals basically be sucked up by the fats and then excreted in the urine. And so
that's what's going on.
Yeah, so you really want to emphasize, using liberal salt in your meals, and then replacing magnesium is critical. Magnesium is a cofactor in so many different, we've talked about cofactors.
The sparkles, they get things going.
Yep. So magnesium is something you want to really be on top of and actually anticipate.
Yes.
And replace that and keep your levels going. And when you do that with the minerals, I think for most people that's really, I think it prevents getting the keto flu, and if you do get it, it will kind of, quickly resolve it. But the other thing is, you're not in ketosis yet. And so when you're in that transition, when your body has not developed the metabolic flexibility, which we like to call it, your body is wanting to use sugar as its fuel, and you're not giving it the sugar.
Right. So
that's not a good situation.
You're like sputtering out.
So in those circumstances, when you're following a ketogenic diet and it's not feeling right, you're having some issues, that's when I think testing has a role. So a lot of people will say if you're in ketosis, you need to actually be checking your ketone levels. And our goal is more of metabolic flexibility, and we're trying to emphasize the benefits of plants, which we've talked about, the fiber and the phytonutrients, and then gaining ketosis. So for us, it's not as critical to have high levels of ketosis. I mean, we're not trying to treat tumors or things like that, where when they do those, they do actually achieve high levels. Mild to moderate ketosis is beneficial. So
and more realistic.
Yeah, and we don't want to add more challenges, and certainly testing is another burden. So we use selective testing. When things are not right, when you don't feel well, that's when we would say we should check your ketosis, see where you are. Are you ketotic or not? And then the other thing which we found helpful is, because we cycle our ketosis, in other words, we will go through a period of time where we're ketotic and then we actually carb up. So when you do that, you have to go back into ketosis each time. Now, as your body adapts, it's actually, for some people, really easy. Like for me, I think I convert within 24 hours. It's relatively painless.
So you don't have to do the keto flu every time. The
Right.
first time
Yes.
is
Yeah,
the
you
doozy.
do.
That's kind of a few other things are that
Yeah.
way too.
But one of the things that we found that kind of helps smooth that transition is actually exogenous ketones. So what that means is that the ketones our body would make, specifically beta-hydroxybutyrate, for those science-minded people.
Beta-hydroxybutyrate.
Big word. You can actually purchase them. So they're available as dietary supplements. There's two main categories.
2 million?
Two main. So ketone salts are what we have on the market right now, but there is a ketone ester which is going to be actually shipping any day now. It's a brand new product, and it may have some issues with taste and side effects compared to the salts.
Some issues with taste.
Okay, evidently it tastes terrible. I've never had it. We've never had it.
We heard it tastes terrible.
But from what we hear,
some issues
it's
with
awful.
Taste.
Yes.
You're so polite.
Well, okay. And then there's the other aspect, which may be even worse than taste, is that it can cause some GI distress.
GI distress.
otherwise known as diarrhea.
Cha-cha-cha.
Big time cha-cha-cha. So it is something you want to use very sparingly and get your body a chance to adjust to it.
Maybe don't leave the house.
I would agree. From my own experience with ketone salts and taking too much too soon, it's not pretty.
Good.
So yeah, so these are sort of hacks, if you will.
I'll pass on that one.
Which I actually use. I mean, and you do too.
Well, the salt's in a very small amount, but those esters with the taste and the GI distress does not sound appealing to me. I'll pass.
It doesn't, but the flip side of it is you get substantial ketone levels rapidly.
Right, that's
almost
true.
Immediately.
Well, I'll let you be the guinea pig on that.
Okay, well that's how it usually works anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something we've actually found really beneficial for cycling, and we definitely feel strongly that ketosis should be a cyclic way of eating. It's not something that we're meant to be in full time. It's just ancestrally, again, we like to refer back to what our ancestors did, and they were not ketotic all the time. So there were periods of feast and famine, and when you were in famine, you were in ketosis, or if you simply were just foraging for food and you didn't find any for a couple days. So our physiology is really designed to cycle, and that's how our world works. I mean, look at the seasons and night and day. I mean, it's all about cycles.
And adapting, because we had to travel. And
exactly. Yeah. So there's a role for ketone supplements for a lot of people in a lot of circumstances, and that's how we actually implement our ketotic diet. Is we use the ketone salts and perhaps soon ketone esters.
We'll see. I'll see about that.
So those are the kind of things that we think are helpful with dealing with the ketone flu that invariably happens at least in the initial transition. Mm-hmm. Once your body adapts, it's not as big a deal.
Right.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Was that all that was on the agenda?
I think for today's session, I think we covered the keto flu, which is really what we want to talk about.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.